Government says it will examine the possibility of providing relief support to taxi drivers. We'll have the details of this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Wednesday, January 27th, 2021, I am Sherry Ann Noel. The government of Grenada will examine the possibility of providing additional relief support to the nation's taxi drivers, a category of persons particularly hard hit by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. At a meeting Wednesday with Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell and two of his cabinet colleagues, executive members of the Grenada Taxi Association appealed for government support as their business has been struggling. More in this report from Rikisha St. Louis.
The appeal was not simply for a handout, but for meaningful ways to help protect livelihoods, such as a moratorium from lending institutions and concessions for the purchase of buses to provide public transportation. The majority of taxi drivers have been without income since the pandemic reached our shores in March last year, halting cruise ship operations and significantly slowing stay-over arrivals. Speaking on behalf of members, President of the Taxi Association, Mr. Cosmas Williams, said, and I quote, "It is tough. We are looking for help in any form. We are grateful for the stimulus package we received, but it has been almost a year that we have been without any real income. A few of us have options, like I'm doing some farming, but the majority of members do not have an alternative source of income. I think it is unfair that some people should be seeking increases at a time when so many others do not even have a source of income," unquote. Mr. Williams also suggested that government be pragmatic in its approach when the cruise ship industry resumes operations to ensure that the country remain a competitive and attractive destination. In response, the Prime Minister acknowledged the plight of taxi drivers and many others who have been without any income for several months and welcomed the various suggestions made. Dr. Mitchell said, and I quote, "My advice is that you compile the various suggestions for how government can assist and share these with the Minister of Finance, who will arrange a meeting with you next week. Following that, recommendations can be made to Cabinet on what government can actually do to help. Remember too, government has its own challenges with a significant reduction in revenue, but we also have a fundamental responsibility to help the people, and that is what we try to do," unquote. The Prime Minister also commended the taxi drivers for their nationalistic approach, not simply demanding assistance, but being willing to explore ways to work together to achieve a common objective. He expressed optimism that we will soon see an uptick in economic activity as the COVID-19 vaccines become more available and the world travel resumes in earnest and life returns to some sense of normalcy. Finance Minister Honourable Gregory Bowen and Minister of Tourism Honourable Clarice Modeste Kerwin also attended the meeting with the taxi drivers. For the National Report, I am Rikisha St. Louis.
Thank you, Rikisha. Leader of government business in the Senate, Senator Simon Steele, says the share purchase agreement between the then government and WRB was one-sided and not in the best interest of the people. Senator Steele was addressing members of the Upper House on Wednesday, where he put forward the resolution to affirm the settlement of the award between the Grenada Private Power Limited and WRB Enterprises, Inc. as claimants and the government of Grenada as respondent. Under the negotiated settlement, government has already paid US $60 million, with another US $3 million due in 2 years. Senator Steele explained that the terms, conditions, and price of the sale are disturbing.
In all areas, every area, it favoured WRB and not the Grenadian consumer, not the government, not the nation of Grenada. The piece that was offensive then, offensive now, is an 80-year monopoly, 8-0, from 1994 to 2073. Where in the world, even back then, it's not so long ago, would you hear of 80-year monopolies? A monopoly that is enshrined within the share purchase agreement that supersedes any national laws that we have, and that was at the heart of the discussion in Washington.
He emphasized that when businesses are paying more for electricity consumption monthly than they do for salaries while investing millions in technology to reduce the consumption of electricity, this is evidence that Grenadians are paying too much for the service.
We heard the cries of our business community when the cost of electricity for a hotel every month is the same, if not higher, than its labor costs. We know something is wrong. When within the tourism sector, hoteliers, service providers are having to collectively spend millions of dollars investing in energy efficiency, appliances, and technologies to try to bring down their energy bills. Millions of dollars that should be spent improving their accommodation, investing in their service, improving their products. They're having to invest in mechanisms to bring down the cost of their electricity. And that's also millions of dollars that could have been spent in job creation, something more productive. But instead, those monies are flowing out straight to the bottom line of WRB, straight out of the country through dividends.
According to Senator Steele, when the share purchase agreement was done in 1994, no provision was included for the transition to renewable energy. He believes there was no vision for future development.
Provided very little provision for the exploitation of our renewable energy potential. There were no incentives within those agreements and those regulatory frameworks from them to transition from their expensive, dirty, environmentally dirty diesel engines to alternative technologies. None whatsoever. And who paid the price? You have the environment, but also us, where there are opportunities where other methods of energy generation can be applied that will provide benefits and cost savings to our people.
Moving along, the conversation of vaccination procurement continues in Grenada and the rest of the region. Health Minister Honorable Nicholas Steele said Grenada has shortlisted 2 vaccines that have been approved by the World Health Organization. However, a final decision is yet to be made. The COVID-19 vaccination is a topic of discussion for many, as concerns are raised over its effectiveness and safety. Minister Steele reassured the public on Tuesday during the government's post-cabinet briefing that no vaccination will be procured before public consultations are held. He added that the government is open to suggestions for alternative remedies for COVID-19.
We are aggressively pursuing the procurement of vaccinations, and we'll be dealing with the rolling out of vaccinations. I am also very much aware that there are many of you out there that have a certain level of anxiety on the vaccine, and the conversations will start with respect to which vaccine and to address any and all of your concerns, so that as many of us, I will be first in line to take a vaccine, and I know many of my team, if not all of my team, will be as well. But there are many of you out there that need to and would like to have more information on the particular vaccine. And in the next days or to the next week, we will be providing that information. We are seeking the cooperation of members of the media as well to help share the correct information. I'm very much aware that there is a lot of misinformation out there and there's a lot of disinformation out there with respect to vaccine. Many, if not all of us, are here today healthy and able to contemplate the benefits of a COVID vaccine because we have received other vaccines.
A vaccination survey was conducted in recent days to attain the buy-in from the public. Minister Steele said the results of the survey is the first step towards making a decision.
The survey revealed the various concerns that people had expressed. Dr. Charles, it's correct me. It's whether it was the length of time that this vaccine has taken to come to market, whether it is short-term side effects or long-term side effects. I think the effectiveness, safety, etc. So we've been able to quantify and classify, and we'll be addressing each and every one of those concerns as we proceed. What's important first and foremost is for us to identify the specific vaccine or vaccines that we will be using. What I would say right now, based on the information we have in our procurement process, and so we're looking at the Pfizer vaccine and we're looking at the AstraZeneca vaccine. We believe that it will most likely end up being one of those two or both of those.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Hey, are you gonna wear your mask today? You see everywhere you go, there are rules you got to follow, so don't you say COVID-19 will delay. Take the opportunity to save your community. Don't be that guy, put a mask on your face if you're heading outside. It's your life, my life, more lives will be taken if we don't try. If you feel any symptoms, call the hotline. Stay inside until you feel fine. 6 feet away every day. Keep COVID-19 far from away. Keep Grenada safe. Be COVID-19 smart.
Welcome back. Members of the Upper House on Wednesday gave support to the resolution to approve the extension of the Declaration of Emergency Powers COVID-19 Proclamation 2021 to July 14, 2021. Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Simon Steele, presented the motion to prevent the frequent renewal of the declaration by the Governor-General, Her Excellency Dame Cecile La Grenade. This 6-month period gives government and the Ministry of Health the authority to extend and make changes to the period of the curfew without the hassle of returning to Parliament.
The mechanism since the last state of emergency, which was established through a resolution of both houses, that 6-month period had expired. We've had a number of proclamations lasting 21 days. But seeing as the Senate is sitting, Parliament is sitting in this period, then it is seen as prudent to bring it forward as a resolution, which provides us with that 6-month window, up to 6 months, in order for us to continue operating the necessary measures.
Senator Steele said it is important that government put measures in place to keep its citizens safe. He said the threat of COVID-19 is real and it continues to spread in other countries. Grenadians cannot afford to become complacent.
If the threat of the virus dramatically reduces during that period, if we feel it's prudent and safe, based on the advice of medical experts and scientists, then that state of emergency can always be revoked. However, based on what we've seen with the December cluster, based on what we are seeing around us, we just have to look to our east, to Barbados, our south, to Trinidad, look north to St. Vincent. Grenada is actually encircled right now by the ravages of the COVID pandemic. And we know how leaky our borders are. Carriacou, Petit Martinique, my family's from there. We know how leaky the borders are there with St. Vincent. So the threat is real and very present.
Senator Winston Garwe supported the resolution. He is confident that in the end, everyone will be protected.
This resolution to have curfew and the likes is to ensure that we'll be able to monitor our borders and to protect our people and to ensure that no illegal activities will happen. But the ultimate goal here, Mr. President, is the safety of the people of Grenada, Carriacou, Petite Martinique. And this resolution will give us the ability to do so.
And now for a recap of the top story. Government says it will examine the possibility of providing relief support to taxi drivers. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I'm Sharian Noel, thanking you for viewing.